Hey y'all, I'm Heather and welcome to my channel, The Debt Free Quilter. It is time that we get started on the Summer Sparkles quilt. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to start by making these blocks. These blocks in this quilt are called the double 4-patch. As you can see, we have a 4-patch in the middle and we have a mock 4-patch on the outside. So we're going to start with these blocks and then we will move on to these outer corners right here, or the inner corners I should say, of which we'll make 4. And then we'll get to the more complicated matters of making the X blocks in the sashing and outer borders. So this is going to take me a few videos to complete, and what I'm going to start with first and foremost is, like I said, these, but we have to organize them. Page 15 is going to be your best friend during this process because it's going to tell you what numbers go where and in what order. So, let's start playing with fabric, shall we? Yay! Let's get started. First things first, I have to dig through my box of tricks because I have to find the correct colors for these blocks. In setting up these blocks, I have one rectangle and one square that are the same color, and one square that is a different color. And to make the 4-patch, I have 2 of each. And since I'm working through nap time today, I'm making the 3 remaining blocks for the top of the quilt. This is an on-point quilt, so I'm not making rows per se, but it's still working from the top down. All right, let's get to sewing. First things first, we're sewing the squares together. And since I'm making 2 of everything, it makes sense to just batch sew them all. And when we batch sew, we batch press. I am pressing all of these the same direction, and it's very important to keep things in order. And now it's time to add the squares to the rectangles. And once again, batch sewing, making sure that the one square of the same color goes with the correct rectangle. Otherwise, it can get really confusing really fast and start looking kind of wonky. Now it's time to press again, this time pressing everything towards that rectangle. It's going to make this block go together super smooth. Now this is the time we want to inspect our block unit. We want to make sure that all the sides are straight and the two patch went onto the rectangle and doesn't need any trimming. And if it does need trimming, we take care of it now. Otherwise, we could wind up with a really wonky block, and we really don't want that. And of course, I'm giving you a sneak peek of how these blocks are going to come together. And look, and they're just so, so pretty. But before I show you how they actually come together, we're going to do some more organizing. Now, as you can tell, I have organized these to the nth degree. But at the end of this organizing section, I'm going to come back and tell you why I'm angry about this whole process. It was not pretty how mad I was. Hey again. Okay, why am I angry? Because I had to cut more. Because I straight up had to cut more fabric strips than was told in the cutting instructions. Thankfully, I did not have to buy more fabric. Then I would have been outright livid. Because that's not how it's supposed to be in a kit. You're supposed to have enough fabric and a little bit extra in case of an oops. Good thing there was some oops. But my issue is that if the pattern is not correct and you make sure you count as you're cutting and you organize the fabric by number and then you still don't have enough even though your count was correct, that is enough to piss somebody off and say, okay, this is going to go over here to the side and I'm not going to mess with it for a while. When I figured that out, after I went through and organized all those sub-block units, I put it away. I made a new bag for my rectangles that said measure all rectangles, because some of them were not the right size because I apparently didn't cut enough or the instructions were unclear. Still mad. I went back the next night. I fixed it by cutting more fabric out of what I had left of the correct colors. And then I put it away again and went about my day today. I'm still mad. I'm going to be mad for a while because I genuinely don't know if it was my count or the pattern that was wrong. That's what really gets me. But it's fixed. That's the important thing. Yes, I'm sitting outside for editing because it's been a long day and I needed some quiet time. So this is where I'm going to leave you for this video. And in the next video, next week, make sure you come back. I'm going to be assembling all the blocks into their finished components. And if I sound a little garbly in the beginning of this video, I am playing with a new piece of equipment. That's right. I heard y'all. I heard you. I just had to save up for it. So I now have a microphone. And so maybe, because like I said, I'm playing with it. I'm getting used to it. I am hoping that this works out well. But in the meantime, have a great day. Have a great week. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye.